Hello and welcome back to Foxy TV, episode 126. Yes, episode 126. I wrote the wrong episode down, my bad, got a little bit ahead of myself. In this episode, we will be speaking to Jake about hiring and firing.
Hire fast, fire faster.
We're going to take you to an install where we incorporated the client's furniture.
Yeah, there was a lot of the client's furniture that we were using and then a lot of the client's furniture that we had to move to the garage as well.
And we're going to finish things off by chatting to Phoebe about whether a formal education is needed to enter the home staging industry.
I don't really place much importance on the education, the qualification and the background.
So a great episode lined up today. Let's start things off by chatting to Jake around the process of hiring, how he thinks about it for Foxy Home Staging, and also we touch on firing as well.
So I guess I kind of have it's a philosophy or a way of thinking about this. It's not mine, I've borrowed it from Gary Vaynerchuk, and it's hire fast, fire faster. And with, you can go pretty deep on this topic, but the way that we like to think about it is we want to make decisions quickly. We know that, or another way to put that same kind of sentence is hiring is guessing, firing is knowing. So when you're bringing somebody into your team, it doesn't matter how detailed your application process is or how many questions you ask and how many tests you ask them to do. Going to get some beeping from a truck reversing in a minute. You still don't know somebody. You can't know somebody from a 30-minute interview when they're trying to put their best self forward. So hiring is guessing to some degree, and firing, when you've actually had the person in your team, you see how they work and what they're capable of and what their attitude is and how they fit with the team, all those things. At that point, you know whether they're going to be somebody who you want in your team longer term or not. So we generally here hire for, not even generally, the most important thing for us is team culture and team fit and attitude of the person. So when we hire somebody, that's almost entirely what we look for. We don't necessarily care about experience or qualifications or that sort of thing. Those things are bonuses, and if somebody has that and they fit the bill from a team culture point of view, then that's a big bonus for us. But really, we hire for who the person is. When we go through our application process, I know some people want to go into a lot more detail to try and get the right person, different first interview, second interview, tests, written applications, all that stuff. We do a much shortened version of that. Going back to the hire fast, we will ask them to send us their resume, we'll want to meet them, and if we get a good feeling, we'll give them a trial day, and if we get the right feel and we think they'll fit the team culture, then we're very quick to give people a chance. So yeah, it really comes down to who the person is and whether we think we get a good feel for them. And that trial day is really important for that. So we actually get a full day worth of seeing them in action, how they interact with people, how eager they are to get into it, and willingness to try things. So that's in terms of, that's the hiring side of things. In terms of the firing, and thankfully we haven't had to let a lot of people go, but there have been a few cases where you know pretty quickly when somebody's not the person you were hoping they would be from a, fitting them with the team or their attitude or something like that you maybe didn't pick up in the application process. And for us, we didn't always, I wouldn't say we get it right all the time in terms of how quickly we make that decision to let the person go. And in fact, we've got it wrong where we've dragged it out a lot and it wasn't good for us as a business or for them because they weren't happy in the end. And eventually get to that point of making the call to say, look, it's not working, let's part ways, and it's been a relief for us and for them. So fire fast is one of those things that Phoebe and I have talked about it, and we're at the point now where, and this goes for the hiring side of things as well, but we now take the approach of it's either a hell yes or it's a no. So if in the application process we don't think hell yes, I want them, give them a chance, then it's probably a no because we don't want to settle. And that goes for the firing and letting people go as well. If you're not, we're going through a 3-month sort of probation. If we don't get the feel that you're 100%, we want to keep you on, then we'll ask a question. We might have a conversation and see how that person is feeling, how we're feeling, and kind of talk that out. So yeah, it's one of those things I wouldn't say we're experts at it, definitely not. We've got 10 or 11 of us now, so we've gone through a lot of hiring and a little bit of the firing as well, and we're still learning, and it's one of those things I don't think you're ever going to fully get it right, but if you have the right intentions and as a business you're kind of thinking about what's best for the business, what's best for the rest of the team, and that's probably, as a final point, something I didn't mention before, is that keeping people on that aren't performing as to the level that you expect and what the rest of the team is performing, it doesn't only impact the individual jobs that they're doing or you as the owner, it actually starts to impact the rest of the team. If you have what you might class as A players, the guys that are really great at their job, them having to pick up the slack or fill in or fix the problems that are coming from somebody who's not performing actually weighs down on them as well. So sometimes the firing decision is just as much about the rest of the team and your A players as it is about that one person. So that's a long-winded way of saying it, isn't it? But hire fast, fire faster, and hiring is guessing, firing is knowing.
Thank you for that, Jake. Let's now take you to an install, which we did early in the week in Cinnamon Park.
We are in Cinnamon Park today, halfway through a partial install for a pretty big house. There's 4 beds, massive outdoor, 2 living, so yeah, halfway through.
Yeah, and we had to move a bit of stuff today.
Yeah, there was a lot of the client's furniture that we were using, and then a lot of the client's furniture that we had to move to the garage as well. So the boys had a bit to do this morning.
Wrap things up this week, we are going to be hearing from Phoebe around whether you need a formal education to enter the home staging industry. Now, this video was filmed in vertical mode. We didn't intend to use it for Foxy TV, but after watching it, I thought the information was very useful, very informative. So I thought, why not throw it here in Foxy TV? So please enjoy.
All right, guys, so we had an Instagram story question come through, and it's a question we get asked often about, particularly from people who are thinking of starting a new styling company, about how important is an interior design degree or diploma or have some sort of qualification in design. So I get asked all the time, what should somebody do? Like, what sort of degree should they go and set out to do before they start a styling company? Obviously, I'm biased because I come from my degree, and my background is actually in cancer care and radiation therapy, so totally left of field when it comes to design. My belief is, so when I'm looking at hiring somebody, I don't really place much importance on the education, the qualification and the background. I want the person to be the right fit for the team. I want them to be somebody who can learn quickly and achieve what we want, fit into the team really, really well, have an initiative. And to me, you don't get that from a degree. When you come through the styling world, so when we get somebody who does come through with a diploma, and we have had people who have stylists who've had degrees, they come with a subset of ideas and they already got their ideas on which design they like the best. They have their styles, they have their preferences, and they've got ideas as to how things need to be done. Styling, you need to be so much more flexible than that. We can't just stick to one style. You need to be able to incorporate colours, you need to use palettes that you wouldn't normally like to do, and you need to be so much more versatile. And I find that when you have that qualification and that background, you become more restricted with that versatility. So for me, as a business owner, I would chase more of a business qualification. I would go and have a look. So many people don't understand the business numbers. They don't understand how to do the back end of the business, and that's why their business fails. That's where I would concentrate on your time and your qualification. Conveniently, Jake has that qualification, and not your design side of things. Because for styling, it's, I think, hire for will, train for skill. And that is our motto. So, yeah, hopefully that's helpful. Honestly, business background will help you significantly.
Awesome. And how did you study how did you learn the stylist related things? So
for me, it's all been on site and while I've been going. So you honestly, I can do it or you can't. You can either have the skill where you can walk in and vision a room, you can vision a space. A minority of the population has the ability to do that, which is why we have business. If you don't have that ability, it can't be trained. if you do have the ability and you do like doing it, and you can appreciate all the extra hard work that goes into it, it's something that over time you can achieve. You need to understand everything is about first impression, so it needs to look the best from one particular door. And over time, I've taken on opinion and training from people like real estate agents, photographers, how they reposition things that I put into a property, how they've changed, how they've refolded the towels in the bathroom. I've taken on that as constructive feedback for me to be able to then represent it differently the next time. When we get different stylists in, I've then grown using their different styles, because we all have a different style that we do prefer and that we do like, but we're not stringent or structured into that particular style. Instagram, Pinterest, all those sorts of things, but primarily it's just been on-site training.
And that's just about it for this week's episode. But before we go, I want to say a goodbye, farewell, best of luck to Andre. Andre is probably now on a plane. Actually, he'd probably be there by now. He's heading back to his home country of Brazil via a stop in Europe for a few weeks. While he was here, he had a great impact on the business. I know everyone from the team at Foxy are going to miss him, so all the best, Andre. And that is it now for this week's episode 126. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you have questions, leave them in the comments below, and we'll see you back here next week.